My child. Look how handsome you are. You're as handsome as your daddy. I saw my alpha husband with another Omega and a child. He was laughing so hard that I could hear it even from the end of the corridor. I walked toward them, one hand on my flat belly, remembering how my husband's family had made me work during my pregnancy, treating me like a servant rather than his partner. He hurt me to protect that other Omega. I lost my child because of them, but he never came to see if I or his child was okay. Now here he was, with his so-called childhood friend who needed him for everything. Before I could reach them, they left the hospital with the child. How can I describe this feeling? I thought they had a pure friendship, but I didn't know he would sacrifice his own child for Finn's. Lucian, how could the man I've devoted myself to for the last 3 years, the one I carried a child for 3 months, abandon me, his own mate? I started remembering how Lucian had treated me over those years. He didn't treat me like he did before our marriage. It was as if he was just filling the place of someone who'd left him. He married me because I kept asking him to, but I didn't know then that the person I loved so much had already betrayed me under the mask of a best friend, and even had a child with him. Just then, I clenched my mobile phone and dialed the number I hadn't dared to click for the past 3 years. It's me. Come and get me. I don't want to live here anymore. I agree to become your mate. I said to him with a cracked, sobbing voice. Noah, just stay where you are. I will come and get you and don't hang up, he replied. Those 10 minutes felt like an hour to me, and I remembered how I'd rejected this man who loved me wholeheartedly, just for Lucian, the man who'd never loved me, cheated on me, and even caused our unborn child's death. I couldn't control my pain and cried nonstop, sitting in the center of the corridor. Before 10 minutes passed, Alex came running to me and saw me crying. He hugged me while I was still sitting, sobbing in pain. Noah, don't cry. It's all going to be okay. I couldn't control my pain and sobbed even harder. Noah, please stop. I will do anything you ask. Just stop crying. I can't see you in this state. Then I held my head high. Alex, I want to make them suffer like I do. I'm ready to become your mate. Just make them suffer. Yes, I will do everything you ask. Just calm yourself, Noah, and stop crying. I will make them pay for every drop of tear you've shed. He scooped me up in his arms and walked out of the hospital. I didn't know when, but I found myself safe in his embrace and fell asleep. When I opened my eyes, I was sleeping in Alex's bed, and he was sitting on a chair, looking at files. He immediately stood and walked toward me in long strides, offering me water to drink. Noah, are you feeling okay now? I was a little embarrassed to see Alex, but he was very attentive. The question I thought about so many times finally came out. Alex, do you hate me because I refused to marry you back then? I even insulted you and said I wouldn't become your mate even if I died. I didn't have the courage to meet his eyes, so I only looked at the glass I was holding. No, I could never hate you, no matter what happens. It's all in your past now. Back then, you chose the person you loved. If I were in your place, I would have done the same. I'm not angry at you, and I don't hate you. I always respect your choices. Even now, if you tell me to disappear from your sight, I will leave you alone. He said this in a very calm voice. Noah, I know you're in pain now, and the decision you made in the hospital was out of anger. I will help you with what you want to do. Just don't force yourself to marry me because of that. I will respect your every decision. In that moment, I was ashamed of my past self for refusing the man who loved me, respected me, and would do anything for me. But the raw ache in my chest wouldn't let me decide anything yet. As I lay in Alex's guest bed that first night, the silence pressed in like a weight. Memories of Lucian's cold indifference replayed in my mind, the way he dismissed my exhaustion during pregnancy, the laughter echoing from that hospital corridor while our child slipped away. I traced the flatness of my belly, tears soaking the pillow. How had I clung to a man who saw me as replaceable? And Alex, his kindness felt like a lifeline, but was I grasping it out of spite or genuine want? By dawn, the anger had cooled into resolve, but doubts lingered like shadows. I needed time to sort through the wreckage of my heart. Over the next few days, Alex gave me space, though his presence was a quiet anchor. We'd share meals in silence at first, the clink of silverware echoing in his spacious kitchen, the scent of fresh coffee mingling with the faint trace of his alpha pheromones. Calm and steady, unlike Lucian's overpowering dominance. One evening, As rain pattered against the windows, I finally opened up. Alex, what if this rage fades and I'm left with nothing? He set down his book, his eyes meeting mine with unwavering patience. Then we'll face that together if you choose. No rush, Noah. Those conversations peeled back layers of my hurt, revealing flickers of hope I'd thought lost. It wasn't an instant flip from despair to vengeance. It was a slow unraveling, each day building my strength until I could say, without hesitation, I will marry you, Alex. Become your mate and bond with you. Just make sure to do what I've told you. I want that person to beg for his life, like I did for my child. He took my hand and said, okay, I will do as you say. But first, I have to return to that palace and do the most important thing. I told him to wait for me for a few days. I would return quickly. At first, his face grew worried, but I assured him I would be okay. Then Alex agreed and dropped me off at my husband Lucian's house. But when I opened the house door, laughter was echoing through the rooms. Lucian was sitting with Finn and their child. When I stepped in, the laughter stopped. Seeing me, the first question he asked was, where did you go? Don't you know that Finn is weak now? He's just regained his health. Go and cook something for us to eat. He didn't ask where I'd been or why I hadn't come home last night. He didn't ask about our unborn child. Did he really think I would do everything he said now? I stood there firm and told him, if you want to eat and make Finn healthy again, go and make the food yourself. I'm not your servant. Seeing me talk back, Lucian's anger flared. The slap echoed, and for a second, I couldn't hear anything. I hadn't regained my strength yet because of the loss of my child, and the man I'd loved didn't even know the child was gone. He grabbed my chin and ordered, Noah, just do what I told you. You know Finn is my childhood friend and doesn't have anyone to look after him. Then what about his child's father? I asked with the burning sensation on my cheek. But he avoided my eyes, like he didn't have an answer. It didn't matter to me now. I said, from now on, you don't have to answer me anything, and handed him the divorce papers I'd prepared. Just sign this. But when he looked at the papers, he thought I was only being stubborn and started questioning me. Noah, do you really want a divorce from me? What about our child? You're pregnant with my child now. Do you think I'll let you go this easily? I couldn't control my anger and slapped him. How dare you mention our child? Did you think if you mention our child, I won't ask for the divorce? Just sign it, Lucian. I don't want to live with you anymore. Looking at my firmness, Lucian grew even angrier. I will not sign. But before I could say or do anything, Finn stood and came closer to Lucian, holding their child. Lucian, just sign the papers. You know Noah can't live without you, and he's pregnant now. He won't leave you. He's just being stubborn to gain your affection. I looked at Finn's smug face. The smirk showed he was only pretending to be cute in front of Lucian. That's why he didn't stop their affection in front of me. But it didn't matter now. Hearing Finn, Lucian signed the divorce papers and said, I know you're only being stubborn and will come back to me in the end. We'll see how you survive without me. At that time, Lucian didn't know that my love for him had ended the day our unborn child died, and I'd already found a man who would devote his life to me. I packed my things and, without looking back, left Lucian's house. The faint temporary mark he'd given me had completely faded now. I was free of this man. But when I came out of the house, I saw Alex's car still standing outside. I knocked on the windshield, and he rolled down the window. What are you still doing here? I asked. It's obvious. I'm waiting for you. He got out of the car, took my suitcase, and placed it in the trunk. Then he opened the front seat door and told me to sit. I sat, and he buckled my seatbelt before asking, Did you complete the work you wanted to do? I nodded yes. He started the engine and we reached Alex's house. He didn't ask me anything during the whole ride, but I knew he had so many questions. I couldn't bring myself to say anything. The city lights blurred past the window as Alex drove in silence. The hum of the engine, a steady counterpoint to my racing thoughts. Rain pattered against the glass, each drop a reminder of the tears I'd shed alone. I glanced at Alex's profile, illuminated by passing street lamps. Strong, unwavering, unlike Lucian's fleeting warmth. My hand hovered over the seatbelt buckle, hesitation knotting my stomach. What if this is another mistake? I whispered, the words barely audible over the wiper's rhythmic swipe. Alex didn't press, but his quiet support chipped away at my walls during that drive, making the path ahead feel less daunting. That night, after freshening up and while eating dinner, I said, "Alex, let's get married tomorrow." He was shocked. "Noah, you don't have to rush. We have plenty of time. I know you want to make Lucian suffer, but I don't want to take advantage of your situation." But I was determined. Over dinner, the aroma of Alex's homemade stew filled the room, warm and comforting, but my appetite was gone. As I pushed food around my plate, a text from Lucian's sister buzzed on my phone. "Come back, Noah. He needs you." Rage flared, but so did a flicker of old doubt. Had I idealized Alex in my desperation? I set the phone down, meeting his eyes. "Alex, what if I'm using you?" He paused, fork midway to his mouth, his expression softening. We talked late into the night, unraveling my fears, until the first light of morning convinced me this was right. Not revenge, but renewal. "Alex, it's not a rushed decision. I've spent 3 years in that marriage with Lucian where I lost myself and you. I want to find happiness for myself now, and I know you're the person who will make me happy. I've already made you suffer once when I chose Lucian over you because of my stupidity, but now I want to make up for that time. Just agree with me, and let's marry tomorrow." Looking at my firm and calm voice, Alex understood I'd made my decision. He agreed, and then we parted to sleep in our rooms. At that time, I didn't know that when I told him I wanted to make Lucian suffer, he'd already started investigating Lucian and Finn. The next day, before I woke up, Alex had already made breakfast and offered it to me. After eating, we headed to the marriage bureau to register our marriage. When the procedure was completed, I could tell from Alex's face that he was very happy in that moment. Despite feeling slightly awkward, I hugged him and said, "Thank you for accepting me after what I've done to you." He hugged me hard and replied, "It's my pleasure to become your partner, Noah. You're the one who's given me everything." Then he told me, "I've arranged a small party for our marriage tonight, and I've sent an invitation to Lucian. It's the first step I've prepared to make them suffer. Thanks, Alex, for accepting someone like me and fulfilling my request." The evening unfolded just as Alex had orchestrated, but the hours leading up to it built a quiet tension. As I dressed in the elegant suit Alex had chosen, a subtle blend of silver and black that accentuated my features without screaming for attention, I paced the room, my mind replaying possible scenarios. What if Lucian caused a scene? What if the revelations backfired? Alex noticed my unease during our drive to the venue, his hand squeezing mine. "Whatever happens, we're in this together," he murmured, his voice a soothing anchor amid the city's evening bustle. The grand banquet hall aglow in shimmering golden lights that danced off crystal chandeliers and polished marble floors. I'd arrived early, my heart steady with the quiet confidence I'd reclaimed, but the whispers started almost immediately. Guests, alphas, omegas, and betas from elite circles, turned to stare, their eyes laced with judgment, as if I'd intruded on sacred ground. And there, already settled in a corner with their child cradled in Finn's arms, were Lucian and Finn. Lucian's gaze locked onto mine, and he strode over, grabbing my hand in a mockery of concern that sent a surge of revulsion through me. "Noah, what are you doing here?" he hissed, his voice low but venomous. "This isn't a place for just anyone. Don't you know this is Alex Blackwood's marriage party? Why did you come?" Finn stepped forward, his innocent facade cracking just enough for me to see the smug venom in his eyes. Holding their son like a shield, he cooed, "Noah, I know you can't live without Lucian, but this isn't the place to beg. Go home before you embarrass yourself further." I snatched my hand from Lucian's grip, my voice steady despite the rising heat in my chest. "Why can't I be here? I have every reason to be." Before I could elaborate, Lucian's face twisted into a darker, humiliating sneer, his alpha pheromones leaking out in a subtle attempt to dominate. "Noah, how can you be so shameless as to come here?" he growled, loud enough for nearby guests to overhear. "I know you're following me, aren't you? That divorce was just an act to gain my attention, right? You're pregnant with my child, and you loved me so much. How could you possibly leave me? I was right about you. You're too weak to let go." A bitter smile tugged at my lips as I stared at him, marveling at his delusions. How could this man, who'd shattered my world, still believe he held any power over me? I let out a soft laugh, one that grew louder, echoing in the hall. Did you really think I'm here for you, Lucian? Why would you assume I still love you after everything you've done? They both froze, stunned by my unyielding composure. Finn's smirk faltered, and Lucian snapped, "Who are you laughing at, Noah? Who do you think?" I retorted, my laughter sharpening into something cutting. "Isn't it obvious? I'm laughing at you too. Is there anyone else standing before me, spewing nonsense? How can you be this stupid, Lucian?" "Noah!" he shouted, drawing every eye in the room. The guests leaned in, hungry for gossip, their murmurs buzzing like insects. I raised my voice to match, refusing to back down. "Lucian, why do you think the divorce I gave you is fake? That I'm only acting? Did you think I didn't know you cheated on me with this so-called childhood friend who clings to you everywhere? Did you think I didn't know the child he's holding is yours? Did you think I'd accept it all and keep slaving away in your house like a servant?" The room erupted in shocked whispers, questions about Lucian and Finn's friendship, murmurs of infidelity and hidden scandals. Lucian's face reddened with fury, his pheromones surging in a thick, aggressive wave as he raised his hand to slap me. But I caught his wrist midair, my grip firm, my eyes blazing. "What do you think you're doing, Lucian? I'm not the old, weak Omega who'll take your abuse anymore. I've already divorced you, and you have nothing to do with me now. Don't test my patience." Before he could retort, the banquet hall doors burst open with a resounding thud. Silence fell as Alex strode in, his presence commanding the room like a storm front. He ignored the stares, walking straight to my side, his hand gently resting on my shoulder. "Darling, did I come late?" Lucian and Finn's faces drained of color, turning ashen as ghosts. Lucian stammered, extending his hand for a shake. "Mr. Alex, it's nice to meet you. I'm so glad you invited us to your marriage party." Alex didn't even glance at him, his focus solely on me. "Darling, are you really his mate?" he asked in a teasing voice that carried just enough edge to cut. "Then who am I?" I turned to Lucian, my tone ice cold. "Mr. Lucian, you're forgetting something. I already gave you the divorce. How can I be your mate? And by the way, that temporary mark you gave me has long faded." Lucian stood frozen, his world crumbling. I shifted my gaze to Alex. "Didn't you have something to announce? Let's go." He took my hand, leading me to the center of the hall. The crowd parted as he addressed them, his voice resonant and sure. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm thrilled to announce my marriage and introduce my new mate, Noah." Gasps rippled through the room, eyes widening in shock. But Alex wasn't done. "And I also want to thank someone special. Mr. Lucian, please come forward." Lucian approached hesitantly, Finn trailing with their child, both looking uneasy. Alex continued, his smile sharp as a blade. "Mr. Lucian, thank you so much for letting Noah go. I'm truly grateful. If you hadn't abandoned him, I might have missed out on him in this life. As a token of my appreciation, I've prepared a special gift." A man in a black suit stepped forward, handing Lucian a file. Lucian opened it eagerly, but his expression twisted into rage as he scanned the contents. He whipped around to Finn, slapping him hard across the face. "How dare you cheat on me and make me believe this child is mine?" Finn recoiled, clutching the child. "What are you talking about, Lucy? I never cheated. This child is ours." Lucian shoved the file at him. "Then explain this. It's a paternity test. I have no relation to this child. And these photographs? You with other men. So many different ones." Panic etched Finn's features as he begged, "Lucian, please, it's not what it looks like." The argument escalated, drawing the crowd's rapt attention. Satisfaction bloomed in my chest as I watched their facade shatter, holding Alex's hand tightly. This was the justice I'd craved. Then Lucian turned to me, dropping to his knees in desperation. "Noah, please forgive me. It's all Finn's fault. He manipulated me, tricked me into being with him. You loved me so much. Come back. You're pregnant with my child, right? We'll remarry. I'll bond with you permanently. Give you a real mark. We'll raise our child with so much love." Seeing him shift all the blame, groveling like the low-grade alpha he was, filled me with disgust. How had I ever fallen for this? He stood, reaching for my hand, but I stepped forward and slapped him, hard enough to echo. How dare you mention my child again? I snarled. Did you even know that the child you're mentioning died because of you? How dare you bring him up so casually? You're the one who killed him. Don't open your mouth about my child ever again. His legs buckled, and he staggered back. How is this possible? My child died? You're lying, right? What lie? I shot back. Did you forget how you shoved me away for your childhood friend, and didn't look back while rushing to the hospital for his child? Did you forget laughing so happily in that corridor while mine died? Lucian, this is just the start. I'll return every pain you've given me these past 3 years. I took Alex's hand, and we walked toward the exit without a backward glance, leaving the chaos behind. The night air was crisp, a fresh start washing over me. Alex pulled me close outside, his voice soft. Are you okay, Noah? Better than ever, I replied, leaning into him. The revelations had cracked their world, but ours was just beginning. Strong, unbreakable, with promises of more retribution if they dared cross us again. And as we drove away, I knew peace wasn't far, wrapped in the arms of the man who'd always seen my worth. The days after that night felt lighter than anything I had experienced in years. Alex and I returned to his home, but this time, it wasn't filled with the weight of pain or revenge. It was filled with quiet comfort, laughter, and stolen moments of intimacy. Every morning, I would wake to the smell of fresh coffee and the sound of Alex moving around the kitchen. He always made sure I had breakfast ready, even if it was just a simple toast or a warm bowl of oatmeal. Good morning, darling, he would say, his voice still sleepy but warm, and I couldn't help but smile despite the remnants of my past hurt. I didn't think mornings could be this peaceful, I'd reply, feeling the tension of my past marriage slowly melt away. Our evenings were spent in soft conversation, our hands brushing accidentally, and then lingering longer than necessary. I found myself looking forward to every small detail. The way Alex's eyes lit up when he laughed, the gentle strength in his embrace, and the calm steadiness he carried even when I was filled with lingering doubts. The first night we spent together in a way that truly felt ours was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. The soft glow of the moon filtered through the curtains, casting silver light across the room. Alex had prepared everything quietly, letting me settle in first. I watched him move around the room with that calm, controlled alpha presence that always made my chest tighten. There was no pressure, no expectation. Only the silent strength that seemed to envelop me, telling me I was safe. He approached slowly, his eyes never leaving mine. Noah, he murmured, voice low and grounding. You've been through so much. Let me take care of you tonight. I shivered, not from the cold, but from the certainty in his tone. Alex, I whispered, my voice shaky with vulnerability. He knelt in front of me, lifting my hand to his lips. The gesture was both tender and commanding, a reminder of the Alpha-Omega bond we shared. Tonight, he said softly, you don't have to be strong. You can lean on me. Trust me. I nodded, letting myself melt into the warmth of his aura. He guided me to the bed, wrapping me in a protective embrace. His arms were firm, yet comforting, holding me in a cocoon of safety. I rested my head against his chest, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breathing. Do you feel safe? He asked, brushing a stray strand of hair from my face. Yes, I whispered. With you, always. A faint smile curved his lips. Good. That's all I need to hear. He shifted so that I was pressed against him, the Alpha-Omega connection between us resonating in a way I had never felt before. It wasn't just physical, it was emotional, instinctual, and intimate in the purest sense. Alex's hand rested lightly on the small of my back, guiding me closer, while I instinctively leaned into him, letting go of all the tension I had carried for years. I'll protect you, he murmured against my hair. Nothing can hurt you when you're with me. I believe you, I breathed, my heart fluttering. The way he took care of me, both as an alpha and as someone who loved me without question, made my chest ache in the best way. He traced gentle patterns on my back, and I felt a warmth spread through me, not just from his touch, but from the undeniable bond forming between us. Noah, he whispered again, we'll build our life together. One night at a time, one moment at a time. You and me. Always. I lifted my face to meet his, our eyes locking, the trust and desire in his gaze making my knees weak. Always, I echoed, letting the word carry all the weight of my past pain and my newfound hope. That night, we didn't need words. Every touch, every heartbeat, every soft whisper reinforced our bond. Alex's strength grounded me, and my surrender to him made us whole. I had never felt so seen, so understood, so utterly protected. In the months that followed, our bond only deepened. We went on small trips together, explored the city in ways I'd never done with Lucian, and laughed without restraint. Our daily routines became filled with little rituals. Morning coffees together, quiet evening walks, and playful teasing that always ended in laughter. Alex's alpha instincts showed in the smallest ways, protecting me from overexertion, noticing when I needed comfort, and guiding our shared spaces with gentle authority. My Omega instincts responded naturally, letting myself lean into him completely, trusting him without fear. We shared countless nights like that first one, our connection growing with every embrace, every whispered promise. He became my anchor, my home, and I began to feel the kind of happiness I'd once thought was impossible. Then, 3 months after we had truly begun our life together, I noticed a strange, unfamiliar sensation in my body. At first, I tried to ignore it, thinking it was nothing, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling. The next morning, my hands trembled as I held the test results. Pregnant. I was carrying Alex's child. When I told him, he simply froze for a heartbeat. Then his expression melted into awe and joy. Noah, ours? He whispered, voice thick with emotion. I nodded, tears brimming. Yes, ours. Alex pulled me into his arms, holding me as if the world had narrowed to just us. I promise you, he murmured against my hair. Our child will know nothing but love, happiness, and safety, just like you deserve. We'll face everything together. And in that embrace, I let go of every last trace of my past. With Alex, I had found a partner, a protector, and a love so complete it made the pain of my old life feel like a distant memory. That night, wrapped in each other's arms, I whispered softly, "Thank you, Alex, for seeing me, for loving me, for everything." He smiled, resting his forehead against mine. "Noah, thank you for trusting me, for letting me love you, and now, for giving us a future." In Alex's arms, I had finally found home, and with our child on the way, the promise of a new beginning stretched endlessly before us. Strong, unbreakable, and filled with love. The months that followed were gentle in a way I had never known before. My body slowly changed, the faint curve of my belly becoming more noticeable with each passing week. Morning sickness came and went, sometimes leaving me exhausted, sometimes making Alex fuss over me like the world might end if I didn't eat properly. He learned every little habit of mine, how I preferred warm milk before sleeping, how certain smells made me nauseous, how I needed his hand resting on my lower back when the ache grew unbearable. "You don't have to do anything today," he would say firmly, guiding me to the couch. "Your only job is to stay healthy. Mine is to take care of you." For the first time, pregnancy didn't feel like a burden I had to endure alone. Felt cherished. At night, Alex would kneel in front of me, resting his forehead against my growing belly, his large hands warm and protective. "Be good to your papa," he'd murmur softly, a faint smile touching his lips. "We're waiting for you." Each time, my chest would tighten with emotion. This child was born from love, not obligation. From choice, not neglect. I was happy, truly deeply happy. That was why the knock on the door one afternoon felt like a crack in an otherwise peaceful world. Alex was at work, and I was resting in the living room when the doorbell rang. Something in my chest tightened, a familiar, unwelcome instinct. I slowly stood, one hand instinctively protecting my belly, and opened the door. Lucian stood there. He looked thinner, his once proud posture slouched, his eyes rimmed with red as if he hadn't slept properly in weeks. The confident alpha who once ruled my life with cold indifference now looked desperate. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then his gaze dropped to my belly. His breath hitched. Noah! His voice cracked, and he took a step forward. You're pregnant. I felt nothing, no shock, no pain, no longing. Only a cold calm. I blocked the doorway with my body. How shameless of you, I said quietly, my voice steady but sharp. To come here. Lucian flinched as if struck. How dare you stand in front of me? I continued, my eyes hard. After everything you did to me. Noah, please, he rushed out. I made mistakes. I know that now. Finn deceived me. I was blind. Stop, I snapped. The word cut through the air like a blade. You don't get to say my name like that anymore. His hands trembled at his sides. I lost everything. Finn left. That child wasn't mine. I was ruined, Noah. I realized too late that you were the only one who ever truly loved me. I let out a hollow laugh. Loved you, I repeated. Is that what you call forcing me to work while pregnant? Ignoring me while I begged for rest? Laughing in a hospital corridor while my child died alone inside me? His face drained of color. You killed my love long before that night, I said, my voice low and unyielding. That was just the moment I finally woke up. He dropped to his knees without warning, right there on the doorstep. Please, he begged, his pride completely shattered. Come back to me. I'll mark you properly this time. I'll treat you right. I'll raise that child as my own. We can start over. My hand tightened protectively over my belly. I looked down at him with nothing but disgust. This child, I said coldly, has a father, and it's not you. His head snapped up. I am married, I continued, every word deliberate. I am happy. I am carrying my husband's child. A child who will never know neglect, humiliation, or abandonment. I stepped closer, my presence firm despite my condition. You don't get to come here and pretend you deserve a place in my life. Tears streamed down his face. Noah, I can't live without you. I leaned down slightly so he could hear every word clearly. I lived without you, I said quietly. And I survived, thrived, even. That's something you'll never understand. I straightened and opened the door wider, not to invite him in, but to dismiss him completely. Stop coming here and bothering us, I said firmly. You are nothing to me now. He reached out, desperation etched into every line of his face. If you come again, I continued, my voice dropping into something dangerous, I won't show you any mercy, not for the past, not for what we were, not even for pity. At that moment, Alex's car pulled into the driveway. Lucian froze. Alex stepped out, his alpha presence filling the space instantly. He took one look at Lucian kneeling in front of me, then moved to my side, his arm wrapping protectively around my shoulders. Is there a problem? Alex asked calmly, but the warning in his voice was unmistakable. I leaned into him instinctively. No, I said, resting my hand over Alex's. It's already been taken care of. Alex looked down at my belly, then back at Lucian with cold indifference. If you value what little dignity you have left, leave. Lucian stared at us. The way Alex held me, the way I stood strong and unafraid, the undeniable truth of what he had lost. Slowly, painfully, he stood. Without another word, he turned and walked away. I didn't watch him leave. Instead, I turned toward my husband, pressing my forehead against his chest as his arms tightened around me. Are you okay? Alex asked softly. Yes, I whispered, a small smile forming as I felt a gentle flutter beneath my palm. I'm more than okay. As Alex guided me back inside, I knew with absolute certainty, my past had no power over me anymore. I had my husband, I had my child, and I had my future. My 9th month has completed in blink of eyes, and one day my contractions had started in the early morning, gentle at first, then steadily growing. Alex immediately took me to the hospital, and he never left my side. His presence a constant anchor. Breathe with me, he whispered, holding my hand tightly. His thumb traced small circles over my palm, grounding me. You're doing perfectly, Noah. Every breath, every moment. You're amazing. I squeezed his hand, leaning into his steady frame. The fear and pain that once would have gripped me now felt manageable because I wasn't alone. I had him, and this child. Hours blurred. Time became meaningless as Alex guided me through each wave, whispering encouragements, brushing damp hair from my forehead, murmuring soft reassurances. Almost there, he said, his voice firm yet gentle. You've got this. I've got you. I clutched his hand harder, drawing strength from his presence, his unwavering calm. I can do this, I breathed, sweat beading along my temples. You already are, he said. Now give me your focus. Our baby is coming, Noah. Our family. When the moment finally arrived, it was swift and miraculous. A cry filled the room. A small, perfect sound that pierced straight to my heart. I felt Alex brush tears from my cheek as the midwife placed our child in my arms. The first time I saw our baby, everything else disappeared. The pain, the past, the fear. It all melted away in that instant. Tiny fingers curled around mine, eyes wide and bright, a living embodiment of our love. Alex knelt beside me, his hand hovering over the child, almost afraid to touch for fear of breaking the fragile perfection. Then he leaned in, resting his forehead against mine, whispering, Our baby. Noah, look at them. They're perfect. Just like you. I laughed softly, tears spilling freely. No, Alex. They're perfect because of you. Because of us. He shifted slightly, pulling me closer into his arms, our child cradled between us. Noah, I swear, I'll protect you both. Always. Nothing in this world will ever hurt you again. You are mine and this family ours. Forever. I pressed my cheek against his chest, letting the warmth of our bond fill me completely. I've never felt more safe, I whispered. Or happier. Alex kissed the crown of my head, his strength and love wrapping around me like a shield. And you never will feel alone again. We're together. You, me, and our child. Always. Hours later, when the room had quieted and the adrenaline of birth had faded, Alex and I sat together on the bed, our baby nestled safely between us. I traced tiny fingers along the soft cheek of our child, while Alex rested an arm protectively around both of us. We did it, I murmured, voice thick with emotion. We really did it. Yes, Alex replied, kissing my temple. And we'll do everything every single day to make sure they know how loved they are. No pain, no betrayal, just love. Noah. Only love. In that moment, I knew it was true. The past could no longer touch me. Lucian and his deceit, the loss, the heartbreak, all of it